Hello, I'm Shannon Jarrett in the Department of Human Development at Virginia Tech, which is home to the Neighbors Growing Together Intergenerational program. At a time when the human life expectancy is increasing, we are interested in setting youth on the path towards a healthy, happy old age, and we want to support the well-being of adults who reach old age. Institutional segregation typically prevents youth and elders from having much contact with each other. And increasingly, educators, human services providers, and families promote programs that intentionally link young and old for mutual benefit. Such programs have been associated with important outcomes for both generations, including advanced prosocial behavior of toddlers, improved academic performance of school-aged children, and increased positive affect of older adults. Facilitators of intergenerational programs note challenges to optimizing contact. Youth and elders may spend time together without learning about each other or developing positive relationships. Such programs are often short-lived, and the potential benefit of intergenerational relationships is lost. We believe that the potential in intergenerational contact is enhanced when young and old have active roles where they cooperate and learn about each other's interests and histories. The physical and social environments are key determinants of success in these settings. The intergenerational observation scale reflects a belief that positive individual development is achieved through relationships.
The Intergenerational Observation Scale, or IOS, captures elements of the physical and social environment in the intergenerational contact setting, along with social behaviors and affect exhibited by old and young participants during intergenerational and single-generation programming. Persons can use the scale for research and evaluation purposes to determine how well programming supports social interaction and positive affect between the generations or within a single-generation group. The scale should be used during activity programming rather than during periods of transition or rest. It is intended for use in a variety of intergenerational settings, which may involve young and old people of different ages and abilities. Observers using the scale must focus on a target participant's behaviors and exhibited affect while coding. Trained observers can code up to 5 participants, watching each in turn. An observer will watch the first target participant for 15 seconds and then take 15 seconds to record codes. The cycle then repeats for up to 4 other participants before a second round of observations begins. For an average 20 to 30 minute intergenerational or IG activity, observers will record 8 to 12 observations per participant. Ideally, multiple observers will be trained to use the IOS for a given project. This allows the observers to determine their inter-rater agreement or reliability with each other. That is, both observers record the same codes when watching the same target participant. Once an observer has verified acceptable inter-rater agreement with our training materials and, hopefully, a partner observer, he or she is ready to begin using the scale for data collection and analysis or evaluative observing to improve intergenerational programming. Persons interested in using the IOS to determine how introduction of best practices improve their intergenerational program can find a host of resources at websites like Generations United at www.gu.org.
It will take you some time to become familiar and reliable using the IOS. Still, the scale has some unique features not found in other measures. Its value lies in the structured detail it systematically gathers on both young and old participants and the environment in which programming takes place. The whole scale provides a rich map of the intergenerational contact setting. Initial indicators suggest that the scale has good reliability and face validity. You can use the IOS to assess the strengths and weaknesses of the intergenerational program you're observing, and assess the impact of new practices on program participants. In so doing, you can help improve the time that young and old people spend together. I appreciate your interest in the IOS and welcome your inquiries and feedback about the scale.
Our training video is broken up into 4 sections. These sections will provide information on how to use the IOS to gather data on the physical and social environment where intergenerational and single-generation activities are observed. behaviors of activity facilitators before and during observed activities, and the behaviors and affect of activity participants. Video and photo examples will illustrate the items captured with the iOS, and you will have opportunities to test your understanding of the iOS components. You will also learn about the process for establishing inter-rater agreement, which is essential before using the iOS to collect data. Part 1 of the iOS captures features of the physical and social environment that may affect the behaviors and affect displayed by participants when you are observing them. Some of the information is noted as facilitators are preparing the activity, and some of it reflects facilitators' behavior during the activity, which you note when the activity concludes. For practitioners and researchers, review of individual items when an activity goes particularly well or poorly can help you identify aspects of the contact setting to concentrate on for improvement. The items are relatively straightforward, and we'll review them here. Note the scheduled start and end time, distinct from when the activity actually begins and ends. The actual program start and end times should be marked by specific events that are observable and repeatable across activities. For example, the iOS has been tested with an IG program that begins and ends each activity period with a song sung by both generations. This may be different than the time recorded further down the page, where you will indicate when the youth and elders actually arrive to the IG contact setting. These different times may help you identify if late starts are shortening contact time, or if one group is consistently arriving on time but having to wait for the other, which is particularly problematic for frail elders and young children due to limited attention span. Note who your facilitators are. You may have one facilitator from each program. You may also have other staff present at the activity setting who are not facilitating, such as nursing staff who are in attendance in case a frail elder or child needs specialized care during the activity. Briefly describe the activity you observe. Indicate what you determine the desired behavior of participants is. You may have access to planning forms used by staff, or you might ask them how they hope participants will engage in the activity. The categories we find helpful for interpreting behavioral manifestations of the activity include interacting, turn-taking, watching, and solitary behavior. If the facilitator's planning sheets or a response to your question indicate different desired behaviors than you observed, please note what behavior you think the activity had the capacity to achieve. For example, a ring toss game might have been chosen by facilitators to encourage interaction, but the primary activity involved individuals not interacting with each other while they waited for a turn to throw the ring. You would want to note turn-taking as the primary behavior for this activity. Note some characteristics of your child and adult group. If you are observing at a childcare or school, you might note the name of the classroom or the grade and teacher's name. If you are observing at an elder care program, you might note the unit the adults come from. At our Adult Day program, we have categories that indicate level of functional ability, and we record this information on our form. You can customize this section of the form to suit your specific project. Record the number of children and elders who participate in the activity, including in the number persons who have left the activity before it concludes or join it after it begins. If the activity occurs, for example, in the adults' activity space, but only a few adults are involved in the activity, record the number of adults who were engaged in the activity. Considering the physical space, note where the activity takes place and what materials are used for the activity. Note the layout of these materials. We recommend indicating whether materials are arranged in a parallel format, where each person has their own set of materials to use, paired format, where a single set of materials are laid out for partners to share, or a central format, where all participants work from one set of materials. Turn-taking games would be coded as centrally arranged materials. If you're having a hard time categorizing the activity, consider these questions. Can each participant complete the activity on their own? That's a parallel arrangement. Do they need a partner to engage in the activity? That's paired. Or do they have to work together or take turns with others to engage in the activity? These are central materials. You should also note if there were noticeable distractions during the activity that might affect participants' behaviors and affect. If possible, note the time when the distraction occurred. Distraction could be brief, such as someone else coming into the room, or it could be persistent, such as cold temperature, sunshine in participants' eyes, or loud noises that make it hard for participants to communicate. We also find it helpful to draw a diagram of the activity setup so you can refer back to how children and elders were situated in the activity setting and note the material layout. Here, we use the letter C to indicate the child's position in the setting and A to indicate the adults. Look for the degree to which facilitators engage in age-appropriate communication with participants. That is, adults and children are communicated with respectfully. In an activity typically geared towards children, such as blowing bubbles or building with blocks, facilitators encourage age-appropriate behavior if they ask the adult to join in a teaching or helping role, as opposed to treating the elder as an age peer of the child. When you check in with the facilitator, you'll want to find out when the activity is supposed to start, so you can report if the children and adults were on time arriving at the activity setting. This might mean transitioning from mealtime to a table where an activity is laid out in the same room. Particularly with young children and frail elders, timely arrival of participants helps ensure that everyone can make the most of their time together without wearing out patience. It is important to note that materials prepared and ready for activity is a distinct item from older adult facilitator ready and child facilitator ready. These items are kept distinct from each other because facilitators from different groups will often take turns preparing materials. Regarding facilitator readiness, a facilitator who has to return to his or her space to get clients or complete other tasks is not prepared for the session, even if materials are in place for participants to use. Regarding the items under facilitator rapport, you should note facilitators' interactions with each other and the participants and answer these items when the activity concludes. These items are pretty self-explanatory, but I'll offer a few comments on each item here. Effective communication aids the setup and implementation of the activity. Facilitators need not talk with each other a lot to be effective, and excessive communication could be ineffective if it distracts from the activity. If only one staff member is facilitating the activity, you would code this item as not applicable. Effective facilitators encourage interaction between partners. They may use directives and encouragement to foster interaction, as opposed to interacting exclusively with one participant or their own group of participants. For example, a facilitator may respond to a request for help from a child asking an adult participant to help the child. Shared facilitation is demonstrated when all the facilitators are active in providing support and encouraging interaction during the session, as opposed to having one person lead the activity while the other facilitator sits on the sidelines. Note, it is acceptable for planning and facilitation to be the primary responsibility of one staff member, but all staff should share in the facilitation. If only one staff member is facilitating the activity and no other facilitator is attending the activity, you would code this item as not applicable. It's important for facilitators to demonstrate comfort with and responsiveness to all the age groups in the activity setting, as opposed to shying away from one group. Regulations often require certain types of care only be provided by staff from the participant's program, such as toileting and other types of personal care. So failure to engage in this type of activity should not lower the rating of the facilitator being observed. Interactions with participants should be respectful and age appropriate. Some facilitators get over-involved with participants during an activity. It can reflect their discomfort in the intergenerational setting or their concern that a child or elder is uncomfortable or at risk interacting with the other generation. Such over-involvement prevents participants from interacting with others and leaves the facilitator unavailable to other participants. Facilitators can also affect interactions by how they move around the activity space. A facilitator who stations herself in one location may not be available to support all intergenerational partners' interactions. Successful facilitators often find it best to interact with an intergenerational pair and then step back to see where else they can support the activity positively. Part 2 of the IOS reflects desired social behavior in an intergenerational contact setting. Regardless of whether your activity is intended to facilitate motor skill development, sharing social histories, or caregiving, we think that the behaviors and affect captured in Part 2 of the IOS provide important indicators of the activity's success. Let's concentrate on the behaviors coded with the IOS first. Observers choose from 6 behavior codes to indicate which behavior was predominant and which behavior or behaviors occurred during the time frame. When coding the behaviors of a target participant, observers note the behavioral indicators and attentiveness of participants. Attentiveness involves the attention paid by the target participant to other older adults, youth, facilitators, or the medium with which she or he may be interacting. It is important to remember to only code for behaviors and affect that are visible and describable according to participant characteristics and behavioral and affective cues. We will teach you about the process of recording the behavior codes after we define and provide some examples of each behavior. Intergenerational, or IG, interactive. Interaction with or acknowledgement of a member of the other generation of participants. Here's an example of IG interactive behavior. Concentrate on the woman on the right.
Now what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Now that you've watched the video clip, let's review the definition of IG interactive behavior. Interaction with or acknowledgement of a member of the other generation of participants. In the video, the woman demonstrated IG interactive behavior when she asked the girl in the blue jumper a question about the clay she was using. Let's watch that clip again.
Now what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Peer interactive. Interaction with or acknowledgement of a participant from the target's program and not interacting with any IG partners. So, the target participant is interacting with an age peer and is not interacting with a member of the other generation of participants. In the video clip that follows, concentrate on the boy. Let's review the definition of peer interactive. Interaction with or acknowledgement of a participant from the target's program and not interacting with any IG partners. In the video, the boy demonstrated peer interactive behavior when he helped the girl with the puzzle. He was interacting with his age peer, but not with any IG partners or program staff. Let's watch that clip again. Staff. Interaction with or acknowledgement of staff from either program, but not with any IG or peer participants. In the video clip that follows, concentrate on the girl in the blue shirt.
Have you been seeing on those Olympics?
I know. I saw boxing.
Let's review. Staff interactive is interaction with or acknowledgement of staff and not interacting with any IG or peer partners. In the video, the girl interacted with the staff member when she answered the staff member's question. She did not interact with any IG partners or peers. Let's watch the video again.
Have you been seeing on those Olympics?
I know. I saw boxing.
Watching. Watching or affectively responding to the activities of others, but not participating. In the next clip, concentrate on the little boy.
So we're going to have to add all the ingredients. And I don't know if one of...
Again, watching is coded when the target participant watches or affectively responds to the activities of others, but is not participating. In the video, the boy was not engaged with any materials or persons in the room, but was watching the facilitator present the day's activity. Let's watch the video again.
So we're going to have to add all the ingredients. And I don't know if one of...
Solitary. Engaging in an activity without acknowledgement of others. In the next clip, focus on the girl. To review, solitary is engaging in an activity without acknowledgement of others. In the video, the girl was engaged with a puzzle and was not attending to peer or IG participants around her. Let's watch the video again. Our final behavior is the one with the least potential to support positive intergenerational contact. Unoccupied behavior is behavior characterized by a marked absence of focus. In this example, focus on the little girl in the pink shirt.
For that, and I can take the bag.
It's so funny.
Yeah, just a minute, husband. Where you want?
Unoccupied, engaging in an activity without acknowledgement of others. In the video, the girl was unoccupied, which was evidenced when she began swinging her arm back and forth, staring at her arm, but not watching or interacting with materials or persons around her. Let's watch the video one more time.
For that, and I can take the bag.
It's so funny.
Yeah, just a minute, husband. Where you want?
Even within the brief observation interval, an observer can witness multiple behaviors that can help understand IG programming. Some behaviors are fleeting, while other behaviors have longer durations, and some interactive behaviors can even occur simultaneously. In order to capture the target participant's experience, we record the predominant behavior for a target participant every time frame. This is the behavior that occurred for the longest amount of time during the 15-second observation interval. The following clips illustrate predominance of each of the behavior codes over a 15-second time frame. We start with IG interactive behavior, interaction with or acknowledgement of a member of the other generation of participants. In the video clip that follows, concentrate on the girl in the blue shirt.
You don't have the kitten yet? No.
You so are pretty.
There we go.
Yeah, I used to have some cats and I don't remember their names.
In this example, the predominant behavior of the girl was IG interactive because she and her IG partner spent most of the time frame talking to each other and playing with a strip of paper. Let's watch the video one more time.
You don't have the kitten
You
yet?
so are pretty.
No.
You so are pretty.
There we go.
Yeah, I used to have some cats and I don't remember their names.
Remember, peer interactive behavior is interacting with or acknowledging a participant from the target's program and not interacting with any IG partners. In the video clip that follows, concentrate on the woman.
You did.
I don't know about
I have two. Both of them are frosted. They look good.
In this example, the predominant behavior of the woman was peer interactive because she spent most of the time frame talking with the gentleman across from her. Let's watch it again.
You did.
I don't know about
I have two. Both of them are frosted. They look good.
Staff interactive behavior is demonstrated by interaction with or acknowledgement of staff from either program, but not with any IG or peer participants. In the next video clip, concentrate on the man in the plaid shirt.
How about you want bobsledding or skating or?
Well, bobblehead, I've never tried because where I live is very seldom have snow.
Yeah, you're in Georgia, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
In this example, staff interactive was the predominant behavior of the target participant because he spent most of the time frame addressing the staff members' questions without speaking to age peers or IG partners. Let's watch it again.
How about you want bobsledding or skating or?
Well, bobblehead, I've never tried because where I live is very seldom have snow.
Yeah, you're in Georgia, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watching is coded when the target participant is watching or effectively responding to the activities of others, but not participating. Concentrate on the man wearing the cap in the next clip.
Has no words, but only fish
Only fish.
animals.
Has anybody ever seen a bear?
And I've seen a penguin in
In this example, watching behavior predominated as the man watched and listened to the verbal exchange between staff and participants. Let's watch it again.
Has no words, but only fish.
Only
Fish
fish?
animals.
Has anybody ever seen a bear?
And I've seen a penguin and a dolphin and a fish and an
Wow.
octopus and a fish and a sea.
Solitary behavior is coded when the target participant is engaging in an activity without acknowledgement of others. In the video clip that follows, concentrate on the girl in the blue shirt.
That's black, yeah. It's just what I need. Oh, we got this one.
I know what. I just had to call it like I see it.
In this example, solitary behavior predominated as the girl took the book, selected a marker, and began drawing on the paper. Let's watch it again.
That's black, yeah. It's just what I need. Oh, we got this one.
I know what. I just had to call it like I see it.
Unoccupied behavior is characterized by a marked absence of focus. Concentrate on the woman in this next example.